This video is for Sight Reading Rhythm Level 1 in 4/4 time. I'm going to show you what notes are used in Level 1 and then how to write the counts and how that translates into sound so that you can count and clap the actual rhythm, what that means. So follow along with the worksheet that I've given you that goes through step-by-step adding a new note type each step of the way. And grab your pencil because you'll need that too. Let's go ahead and screen share. Here we go. All right, this is Sight Reading Rhythm, Level 1 in 4/4 time. And you can see at the top here, there is a box text that says quarter notes and quarter rests. So this first section only uses quarter notes and quarter rests. And then there's an instruction here. This instruction is about how to write your rhythm counts. I've written all of them for you on here so you can see an example of everything, every possible combination that I could think of. And then you got to practice counting and clapping them. So we're going to do that together. So it says use large size counts for the beat count under a note. So every time there is a quarter note, you're going to put a large count. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And that's because right here there is a bar line. So this is your first measure. You're always going to count to 4 in 4/4 time. That top 4 means count to the number 4. So the first thing is number 1, then number 2, number 3, number 4. You think this is easy, yes, but I do have a reason for saying this. Once you get to the bar line, you start over. First thing in the measure is always number 1. And these are all very large counts. When you write this yourself, you're going to have to use pretty large size handwriting. Some of you guys that always write really small, this is hard for you. But we need to distinguish between a large size font and a small size font in your handwriting. So choose something that works for you, but make sure that everyone can see this is large, this is small. Second instruction here says use parentheses around the beat count under a rest. And so underneath here, we have a rest, and this rest has parentheses on the beat count. And those parentheses are just going to mean that this is a silence. However, we're still going to count the number 4. This is where it gets tricky, as some people have learned a different system, maybe back in middle school or at another school. I'm going to teach you my system. It works really well. I've had a lot of success with it. If you have another system that works for you, that's great, but try also learning my system because that's how I'm going to test you, okay? So under this rest count is the number 4 in parentheses. Parentheses mean it is a rest. And then there's a bar line, and then you start over. Now I'm going to clear my writing here because I want to show you what this means. So in the first measure, here's our first measure up to this point. Our first measure, we have 4 quarter notes. Every time you have a note, and I'm talking about the note head, you're going to clap, right? So we're going to clap 4 times right here, and we're going to count to 4 while we do it. This is really important. You need to be using your voice to count as well as your hands to clap, performing the rhythm. So there's a little bit of hand-brain coordination that needs to go on. And for some people, that's difficult. It's going to take you a while to master it, get yourself in gear. So start slow and work your way up, all right? First measure only, it's 4 quarter notes. So you're going to clap 4 times. You're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4 at the same time. Let's do it together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it, right? You're like, cool, that's easy. Now in the second measure, up to that point right there at the bar line, we've got almost the same thing, right? Because we've got 3 note heads right here. These are all quarters, so they're on 1, 2, and 3. And then on the rest for number 4, we have parentheses. It says right here, clap on a large count, open your hands on a rest. So every time there's a note head, you clap. Every time there's a rest, you do the opposite and you open your hands. There's never a moment where you do absolutely nothing. You're either making a clap or you're making a rest or doing some motion to indicate that the sound is continuing. The music doesn't stop until the end of the song. We're not at the end of the song yet. So there's never nothing to do, always something, even if it's opening your hands to indicate silence. And when you do this, you're going to kind of pulse your hands in the air. We should feel an open spot where like there would be a beat, right? You go bam right there. And if you notice, when you open your hands, they actually do look like parentheses. So I have parentheses right here, just like in my writing for number 4, I put parentheses around it to indicate a rest. Those are open hands. So let's count the second measure. That's right here. Clap and count together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just hit that air right there. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now that you kind of got the idea, let's do the whole first row. I'm going to clear all this stuff out of my way, and we'll go from the beginning here to the end of the line. All right. I'm always going to give you a measure of count off so that you hear what speed we're going, and then we start. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a question of watching out for the rests and knowing what count they're on. So you give us an open sign, open your hands for that rest instead of clapping. The rest of this line, it just follows similar, and you're just trying to get that coordination in, okay? At the very bottom line, I'll do the bottom line with you. That line has a lot more rests. Notice that each one is currently in parentheses, but you could just as easily put one larger set of parentheses around all of them to indicate like, no, we're still in rest mode. Like, oh, I'm gonna go over here. Still in rest mode all the way across. That's fine too. That kind of saves space and sometimes makes it look cleaner. I'm actually going to erase that one because I see the 1 is right next to it. And I'm going to put a 1 right there. All right, so let's clap the last line together, starting at measure 13, going until the end of that line. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sense? Okay, so things to note. Note. The counts have to remain in a really steady pace. You can't speed up, you can't slow down. Sometimes our brain needs extra time to process something new before it comes up, and then you have this hiccup of time where you're like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll mess you up. So as you're practicing this, one of your goals is going to be to smooth out your counts, keep them perfectly steady like a metronome would do, so that you never have a moment of stuttering in your pace, because the music's not going to do that. You have to keep going at the same pace as the music demands. Now, I do have several recordings that are available on the Padlet that have myself saying the counts in a specific tempo so that you can practice with them if you're having trouble with that. It'll kind of push you to stay on the beat in the same tempo. So do use those if you need them. All right, we're going to scroll down and do the next section here. Okay, quarter notes and half rest. So we're introducing one new thing. Here we go. One new thing, this is our section right here. Use parentheses around both the beat counts under a rest together. So like I said earlier, you can kind of sync those up into one set. A half rest, right here, half rest, is going to be worth 2 quarters, right? Because 2 quarters added together equals a half. That means we've got 2 rhythm count beats. Number 3 and number 4 are both in a rest. And we can put those together in one set of parentheses right here. I could also just say, you know what, these are all back to back. I could do that. Whatever works for you is fine. Notice that every time there is a bar line, you're going to start over with number 1, bar line number 1, bar line number 1, and we never have the number 5 because the time signature says that there is a 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom, and the 4 on the top says there are 4 beats per measure. You have to count to 4 and no more, no less. All right, let's count and clap this line together up to here. Hands up. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, moving on. Let's add another note rest type here. The next line down, right there, says half notes and half rests. So we're going to do just half notes and half rests for a second. And this is where we add another layer in our writing. So previously we've done large rhythm count numbers. We've done count numbers in parentheses. Now we're going to add small count numbers. Use a small count number under the second beat count under a note with 2 or more beats. The large count is where you will clap, and the small count is where you will keep your hands together and pulse them forward. So the movement we're going for here is once you clap, you're going to show that that note is a longer note and continues by going like this, that Fruit Ninja chop, okay? So we might have a really long note and go 1, 2, 3, 4, it just keeps going. And this is showing us that yes, we are continuing. Like I said, there's never nothing to do, always something to do. All right, at the beginning here, we have a half note. That half note, note head says, hey, give us a clap. So right here, we're going to clap 1. But a half note is worth 2 quarters. So we do have 2 rhythm count numbers here, 1 and 2. Notice that each of these rhythm numbers is worth a quarter. Every single time, all these numbers are worth a quarter until we change the time signature, which we won't do for a while. So we have 2 quarters in this half note, but only 1 note head. So you're going to clap on the note head and pulse the rest of the time. So for this one with just 1 and 2, we've got 1, 2, clap, pulse, right? Then we have the same thing again. We've got clap on number 3 for the note head and pulse on number 4. So we've got 3, 4, clap and pulse. This whole measure, first measure, measure 21, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the second measure, we're going back to adding half rests. So we've got our parentheses saying open your hands, give us a 3, 4. And notice we are giving a pulse in the air, right? 3, 4 for both count numbers, something to do all the time. So this measure right here would be 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do this whole line together now that you kind of understand it. We're going to clear all of this and go to the end of the line right there. And ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty. Clearing that one, and we're going to scroll on down. There's one more section of new things for level 1, and that's right here. Level 1, whole notes and whole rests. So the instructions say use a large count to start a long note and small counts under the rest of the beat counts under a note with 2 or more beats. Use parentheses around all the beat counts under a rest together. So this first measure has a whole note. That single note head says, hey, we're going to clap. But then it says, keep going. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Let's try that together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pulse with your hands together on 2, 3, and 4. Then we have a measure of rest. Right here is a whole rest. So we have all of our counts in parentheses. When you write your counts in parentheses, it doesn't matter if they're large or small or medium or whatever, as long as they're in parentheses. So whatever works for you size-wise is great, as long as when you have a note, we can see large and small. The parentheses rest size does not matter. Let's do the second one together here, second measure. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. The whole line. Let's do the whole line together. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you got to put it all together, because at the bottom of the page here, we have the section you're going to practice and write counts in for and perform for me to pass level 1. So we've used quarter notes, we've got quarter rests, we've got half notes, whole notes, half rests, and whole rests. Everything's all mixed up. So it's quite a jumble of things, and it's very long so that you get practice with writing everything and counting everything. So first thing, get your pencil and start writing your counts in. Please remember that every single bar line means you need to start over with a number 1. I've had some people get a little bit mixed up because they see a half rest and they referenced a half rest earlier and it said 3-4. Well, it doesn't always mean 3-4. It just means that a half rest gets 2 counts. So a half rest could get 1 and 2. A half rest could get 3 and 4. Could get crazy and get 2 and 3. You never know. So please be careful that after every single bar line, you restart your counts with a number 1. Okay? Add parentheses for your rests, and then count and clap it all the way through. And once again, if you get a little bit funky with your pace, use one of the tracks that I made that just counts everything out for you so that you have a metronome with rhythm counts being spoken to help you out. When you perform it, you will need to count out loud and clap the rhythm. So practice doing both simultaneously. Good luck!